Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, hello, hello. It is I, Dr. Cynthia Dempsey. Welcome to All Things New, the Kingdom Innovator Series, the Youth Edition. Well, yesterday we talked about the importance of hearing the voice of God, of learning what his voice sounds like. And we used the example of Samuel in the Bible, who was a young boy who heard the voice of God calling his name. He was in a habit of responding when his name was called, so that when he heard his name, he immediately responded. He immediately took action and went to the adult that was present there. And the adult present, who was Eli, said, "No, I didn't call you." And when he heard his name called again, he jumped up, "Here I am, Lord," ran in there to see Eli and say, "Yes." And Eli was like, "No, I didn't call you." And finally, it was the realization that that was actually God calling him. But the part that I want you to also focus on was that Samuel had a habit of responding on the first time because he listened. So he had a habit of actively listening and hearing when someone was talking to him. I think in today's society, it is so easy to tune out. Do you know what I'm talking about? Of course. How many people have those earbuds or headphones on, and they're walking around in their own little existence? They don't see what's going on around them. They don't hear what's happening around them because they're so tuned in, and it's blocking out the sound that's all around them. But we need to be in the habit of staying alert and listening. You can start by listening to your parents, listening to those who are in authority over you, and getting in the habit of responding on the first time and not waiting until the fourth, fifth, sixth, 10th time before responding to them. It's really important. Okay. So I just wanted to recap that. And I encouraged you all yesterday in yesterday's episode for some practical application, which is to put on a timer for 15 minutes. Well, did I say 15? So do, like building up. If you say, "I don't know if I can do that for 15 minutes, start at 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. But 15 minutes really isn't that long. Think about how long you spend scrolling on your device, your phone, whatever it is. How many minutes do you spend playing a video game? How many minutes do you spend watching a show? How many minutes do you use listening to music? How many minutes do you use going to the movies or doing some other activity that you really enjoy? How many minutes is that? Yet sometimes when we talk about the things of God and listening to the Lord or reading the Bible or going to a service or hearing a message about God, we're like, "Oh, this is taking too long. Oh my goodness, when is this going to be over?" Yet I've seen people stand in line in cold weather, hot weather, for hours waiting to get tickets or waiting for something they really wanted, and then playing on these games. How many of you are any of you guys, the people who are those gamers? How many minutes do you use gaming? Do you know that there are some people who play these video games in the tournaments and things like that? And it's just really disgusting, some of the things they do, because of how long they're going to be sitting there playing games. It's like, oh my goodness, unbelievable. How many minutes is that of your life that's going by? And so, do this. You see the little calculator on my screen over here? Why don't you take time this week coming up This is what I want you to do. I want you to make a log where you write down, don't change any of your habits, don't do any of that. But I want you to write down how many minutes you spend on your device, phone, computer, tablet, iPad, whatever it is, okay? Your computer use. And I'm not talking about for class when you're in school, okay? Because I know some classes are online and you have to do work in school. But do you know that some people who are supposed to be doing their classwork when they're on their computers are actually not doing it? Yeah, I'm sure you knew that, right? Okay, so I want you to write down how many minutes each day. So get your log, go from, today is Friday. So starting on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, take it all the way to next Friday. And I want you to say, how many hours or minutes do you spend on your device? Write that down. How many minutes do you spend playing video games? How many minutes do you spend watching a show or binge watching, as they say now, where you just watch back-to-back shows? How many minutes is that? So if shows are like 22 minutes and you watch a whole episode, a whole season, how many episodes were in that season? So then you would multiply the number of episodes times however many minutes that show is. And that will give you the answer to how many minutes, hours you've used watching a series. Okay. And then what else did I say? Anything else? Games, video games, those interactive games. If you go into virtual reality type of places and doing things like that, I just want you to look at how you are using your time and then compare that with how much time you are actually spending listening to the voice of God, praying, reading his word, trying to get closer to the Lord by learning about him. Just any of your time spent on the things of God. Compare it. Is it equal? Is it greater than the things you're doing, like, video games and online and all that other stuff? Or is it less than? The reason for this assignment that I'm given, I know you're like, an assignment. Yes, it is an assignment, because I want you to take an assessment of how you are using the valuable gift of time that God has given you. And then once you do that, and next Friday, sit down for 15 minutes with that spreadsheet that you will have created. And I want you and God to talk. Listen to what God has to say to you about the use of your time. And it's very possible that he might tell you, we need to make a couple of changes here. Because if you are devoting too much time to those type of things, how much time are you devoting not only to God, but to your studies, to creating ideas and concepts and products, and just becoming an active participant in your community? Are you doing community service? Are you participating in organizations? Are you on any activities and ministries in your church, or working? What is it that you're using your time for? Are you using the time that God has given you wisely? As a young person, sometimes we think, oh, I have time, I'll do it later, I'll do it later. But what I want us to think about is, you know what? Now is the time. Those who are the kingdom innovators, they know that, look at the next letter, InKNOW. The next three letters after the K is NOW, now. So know now the value of what you have. That includes your time, your gifts, your talents, your ability, your strength, your wisdom, your curiosity, all of those things, in addition to your family and those who love you and who are really encouraging you to be the very best person that God created you to be. Those are all so very precious. All right. I just wanted to give a little more practical application today as we thought about Samuel and how he heard the voice of the Lord. And one of the reasons why he could hear the voice of the Lord was because he was in the presence of God and his mind was focused on doing the things to serve the Lord. Whereas today, so many people have so many other things on their mind and vying for your attention. Like I said earlier, all of those devices, videos, blah, blah, blah. You all know what I'm talking about. All right. I look forward to hearing some of your responses after we do this experiment for a week of how we are using our time, and then how many hours of time are we using. Okay. All right. Well, until next time, God bless you, and remember all things new. Bye.